Hello, hello. All right, so before I begin this week, I want to give a shout out to my girl Sylvia, who graciously gifted me this apron along with a matching oven mitt and glove. Yay. As always in the Old Recipe Kitchen, we like to do things by the book, but this week we're going to shake things up. Now, I always worry about what to do with leftover ingredients. We have so many, and ingredients are quite expensive. One of the ingredients we've had left over is malted milk powder. We had this left over from the chocolate Guinness cake perfected, and I have found an unconventional way to use it. Welcome back to the Old Recipe Kitchen. My name is Yvonne, and today we are going to do things not by the book. That's right, you heard me correctly, not by the book. I have been trying for, a couple of weeks to find a recipe to use the malted milk powder that we use for the chocolate Guinness cake perfected. And I have over 50 cookbooks, and not one of them had a recipe that called for the amount of malted milk powder that it would take to use this. And since I had to order it, I had to think of another way. So what better way than to look at the label? This is King Arthur Baking Company. So what I did was I cheated. I went to the website, but there were 5 good recipes that feature malted milk powder, and I had to find one that I wanted to use the most. And since I'm always wondering what's for breakfast, King Arthur came to the rescue. Today we are going to be making chocolate milk scones, chocolate malted scones, I should say. And we're going to start our recipe with 2.5 cups of flour, 1/4 a cup of cocoa, 1/2 cup of malted milk powder, 1/4 a cup of sugar, 3/4 a teaspoon of salt, and 8 tablespoons of cold unsalted butter. Now, that's probably a little bit warmer than I want, but there's a tip later that will answer that if you have any questions. Lastly, we have a cup of chocolate chips. Now, this is all going to go in bowl 1. All right, so we're mixing up our dry ingredients. I'm using this to make some dough. And then we're going to move on to bowl number 2. In bowl number 2, we will have 1 egg, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, and 3/4 a cup of milk. You're gonna whisk that together. And then we're going to add that to bowl number 1. I have to say, where'd it go? Okay. All right, so we have successfully mixed our batter here, and it looks more like a dough. So this will make about 18 chocolate scones, and the instructions on the website are to put the scones 6 inches roughly. You'll get about 18 of them on the cookie sheet, and you're going to put them in the refrigerator for 1 hour before baking. Okay, so it looks like the recipe is correct. You will get about 18 scones from that recipe. Now we're gonna put these in the refrigerator. You have to cover them in plastic first, put them in the refrigerator for 1 hour. and then we're going to put them in the oven. And that was why I mentioned before that even if the butter was a little bit soft, my butter was cold, but it was soft. So even though it was a little bit soft, it's okay because it's going to go in the refrigerator for an hour. Okay, I have committed a cardinal sin. I have left out the baking powder. So I am redoing the recipe, adding the baking powder. You need 1 tablespoon of baking powder. Lesson learned. All right, an hour has passed and we have removed the scones from the refrigerator. Now, keep in mind to please remember to add your baking powder while you're mixing. Don't do what I did. Anyway, I'm going to put them in the oven for 16 to 18 minutes at 375 degrees Fahrenheit. And as I always say, wish me luck. All right, so after 16 to 18 minutes in the oven, we have our scones. Now, my producer was saying they look more like biscuits. It made me think, what's the difference between a biscuit and a scone? A biscuit has more distinct layers. It's lighter, it's fluffier, it has no eggs. A scone is more of a cake, crumbly type texture, and it has eggs and more fat. So for this recipe, we have to add a glaze, and it also involves malted milk powder. So we have 1 cup of powdered sugar, 1 tablespoon of malted milk powder, and 2 tablespoons of milk. So if you have anyone in your house like I do that doesn't necessarily like frosting, you don't have to add this to every scone, and you really don't have to add it at all. I think they would taste fine without it. I'm just curious to see how it tastes, and I want to get rid of some of that malted milk powder. So I'm just going to, lightly drizzle it over a few of them. And hopefully, they'll taste good. You're supposed to do this after they cool, by the way. So, okay, this week I don't have a book to show you, unfortunately, but next week I promise I will. If you like what you saw today, please like and subscribe. Comment down below if you have something that you'd like to see made here in the Old Recipe Kitchen. In the meantime, check out the King Arthur website. Shout out to them and thanks very much. And until next time, I'm Yvonne.